Okay, a little overview before I get started measuring this stuff. Again, so this would be the control arm would be right in here, right here like this. And this threads into the control arm. These are actually threads. So based on how this seal goes and what it's sealing off, you got grease going in through the inner part of the bushing, and then this is sealing that on this end. So my initial thought was that the pivot is occurring inside the control arm, but now I'm thinking on it, that does make sense that you're torquing this bushing into the control arm, because it never even hits, it never bottoms out on that shaft against the flange. So you're torquing, you're tightening the bushing into the control arm shaft. So where you're actually pivoting is in the threads on the shaft. That's where your actual pivot's going. So it's inside this bushing is where the grease is supposed to stay. Anyway, this is the best I can figure. This does fit this shaft, and this is the surface I'm going to go with here right before the flange. I'm going to measure that surface for the inside diameter of this seal, and then obviously measure the thickness of this seal. That'll be a measurement. And then I'm going to put these together as best I can, and then measure the inside diameter of this seal, or this end of the seal. And I'm either going to leave that as my number, or I may take 1/1000 off so that I can account for the possibility of some stretching. Because remember, the inside diameter of the other end is going to be based on this, not based on this old seal. So, but this end is going to be all I have. I have no idea where it's supposed to hit this. Anyways, that's what I'm going to go with, and we'll see what I get from there. All right, so it's a little too hard to set the camera up and all the get these angles and actually do the measuring. So I just went with I've done the measurements, but just show you it's just calipers. I did the thickness of the material. I did the width of the material. I did this inside diameter of the larger piece. I don't know if that's... So it was a little bit hard because, I mean, it's, a little bit deformed. So getting an exact measurement off of this piece of rubber isn't going to be real possible. But what I did was I got pretty close, and then I kind of went to the most reasonable number near it instead of the 164,000th of an inch or whatever. And then what I did was I applied that to, actually what ended up being was 1.25 inches on the caliper. So, okay. So then, once I determined that measurement, or that measurement there, what I was able to do was check this bushing and its outside diameter, and it would just barely go over this lip at 1.25 inches, which I would assume they were you know, trying to keep reasonable numbers with the measurements when they made the thing. I mean, this is a 1/2 inch in thickness, for example. It's not some crazy number. The smaller opening, I measured the shaft as I said I was going to. That actually comes out to 1/64th. So those are the measurements that I need, and I'm gonna put that into a drawing. Okay, so this is the drawing that I created here for the seal. It's a 3D drawing in SketchUp. Not that the 3D is going to come in very handy for the seal maker necessarily, because I just have to export it as a picture. But anyway, it's a pretty handy utility. It's limited. Again, it's not for technical drawing, so I had some issues with that. It's not completely round. It uses straight lines to make round objects, essentially, ultimately. I'd used the dimensions to make the lines and make the dimensions, and then I'll show you I edit it in just photo editor, and use that to put the correct dimensions in. Just show you the basic process. Drawing a circle, then you gotta draw a line off of it. It's not correct axis point, you know. And that, again, I measured all these out. I'm not measuring these right now. Then you gotta set that thing at an angle, the correct angle that you want. What I did was measured out this would be I did the bottom, obviously the small inside dimension, and then measured the outside dimension, or the larger inside dimension above it, and then you create this angle and just meet that point, that larger IED. You meet it at the top. Let's see here. And again, I'm not doing this accurately, or to measurement, but I did before. And then you just create the thickness. Essentially, you get the thickness of the wall of the seal. And you create a line there. This is where I would have done the inside dimension and measured that out so that line intersected with that. And you can see your guidelines once you enable that. Actually gives you your tape measure dimensions. I did use decimal, not fraction, for this. I don't know what they would prefer. Doesn't really. Hopefully it doesn't matter. If it does, I can convert that and give it to them. I'm sure they're fully capable, though. So you make that, and that gives you your box, essentially, to do this. And then you have a follow me tool. Actually, you got to select the circle first so it knows what to follow, and then you use this follow me tool, and boom, there you've got the seal. And so that's how I created it. Again, using the proper dimensions. Yeah, then I exported it as a PNG, just a image file. For some reason, then it won't let me record my screen when I'm using. This is just 3D Paint, so built in. And SketchUp, by the way, is free. It's a free application. But then I just show you a little bit here. I took the eyedropper and got me a custom color, and then I just took the pen and I erased. I took out the incorrect dimension that it puts in there, and just show you one of these. And then I just took text and just put that in there. And centered it a little bit as best I could. And then that came out to being this here. Anyway, that's what I did. All right, well, here is the kit for the steering box. And that's from Midwest Directional Services. That's who I found it with. And I'd say they were really good as far as identifying the part based on the actual number on the steering box and everything. So probably the first part I've had a real healthy amount of confidence in. Okay, so this is the separate bushing. That's the one thing they said that this is actually for Fords, but that they had that bushing specifically for the 60 to 66 GMCs. So otherwise, all the parts should be the same. So that's the Ford bushing. It's pretty similar. All right, there's one of my seals. I don't know what that washer is, but there's the races that I don't want to replace if I don't have to. There's my gasket for the cover plate. There's my bearings. Those sure do look right. And you can't see that on there. They look like the same guys. Size-wise, anyway. So. Bearings. I haven't actually gotten my bushing out yet because I was wanting to see. Uh-oh. Oh, shoot. It's like I need two seals. There they are. Okay. So I wanted to see these seals before I took the ones out of which I haven't finished cleaning this thing yet. But, what am I looking at? Oh, yeah, here. So that must be this seal, yeah. And then this seal has, I don't know if this is part of the seal or if this is just a retainer of some kind. I don't see any split in it or anything. So I'm still a little confused by that. But anyway, that is going to be that seal. And I guess I just got to take it out of there. See what things look like with that. And yeah, these are just races, so there's nothing. I'm not seeing anything that's going to help me with that. I'm not real sure what that is at all. And that could just be a Ford thing, too. You know, an extra part. And this seal goes in here, and it looks like it's right, too. The cup actually like that, I imagine. So, yep, that's what it looks like inside there. So, awesome. Looking good so far. I'll get that seal out of both of these items. And I got to finish, like I said, cleaning the... Just I'll leave that with that one. And, And that's also where that bushing goes. Same thing inside the in here. It's going to be that copper bushing. So, I'll get all that cleaned up, get the seals out, the bushings out, and have something to do. It's awesome. Okay, so I got some hot water and then boiled a pot of water additionally, and put in a bunch of Dawn, and probably, hopefully not so much that my wife notices, but we're going to try a little steering box housing in that and see how it goes. Well, there she be, pretty cleaned up. There's that race down there at the bottom. I don't know if you can tell, but she looks fine to me. Looks just as good as the new one that I got. So that's gonna stay in there. This is kind of a weird one here. Is there's the bushing that I got to replace once I pull that seal out of there. But there's a bushing in here, copper bushing. And that's pretty much guarantee you for sure that one. That isn't going to go in there. So that's what that is. And there isn't a seal on this either. No seal on anything. I guess you're not supposed to replace that one. Anyway, I found what that washer, I do have that washer in that package, goes to that. So that's the new one that's on it. All these things are cleaned up. I used the little heat gun trick on these bearing sleeves, and just clumps of grease came out of that. And so that was good. I think that worked out really well. If you were to take the ball bearing, this apart and pull the bearings out and take these sleeves apart and do that, you would lightly grease the balls as you put them back into the sleeves. So that's pretty much what I'm thinking the state is of that. And so that's what I'm sticking with. I know somebody probably going to tell me I'm doing it the wrong way, but that's kind of the advantage of having very few subscribers and viewing audience being pretty small, is that that kind of keeps that down a little bit. Kind of a thing where if no one tells you you're doing it the wrong way, is it actually the right way to do it? So that's why I'm keeping that audience, low, and keep that down. Well, it's a philosophical argument, but I think valid. So I gotta get these seals out now. I still haven't finished cleaning this part. Yeesh, yeah. I'm gonna take that to the wire wheel a little bit, and so I gotta clean that up, and then get the seals out, and put the new ones in, and then I'll fill her back up with grease. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and pop this seal out. Got her pretty clean. As far as I can tell. Alrighty. Okay. Oops. We want that pretty clean. And I also want a little grease. Put that in with. I don't know that this is the right grease. This is a bearing grease that I got for wheel bearings. But it will definitely suffice to just grease these seals up. Wow, that is interesting. Well, they told me this is the right stuff. So I suppose it could happen. The inside diameter looks correct. Well, is what it is. It's going in with it, so if that's not going to work at the end of the day, she'll just have to come off if it's leaking grease. Blast it. Funny too that this one, like I say, has this steel piece on it. Oh, great. See, and I knew I wouldn't be able to keep from boogering that thing up. I mean, honestly, how much does it matter? Because, those things weren't going to do it. You got to be replaced with something. So then this is definitely, it's a steel shroud, metal shroud on that. And this, okay, that is rubber in there finally. Okay, I figured it'd have to be, but well, this is too. But the inside is, and that's dry and cracked. Whew. So, apparently the replacement on both of these is different. But I'm sure better too. Right? They've improved on that. Undoubtedly. Now that bushing's got to come out of here too. I do want to take that. I'll be dipped. There's 2 bushings in there. So, I mean, I got 2 bushings, but I think the inside diameter's different. Nope. Those are the right bushing, or 2 bushings. So you need 2 of them is the point. So when they said you need to add a bushing, or you need to add the bushing for the GMC, what they were saying is you need 2 bushings. All right, well, I debated this one a little bit because that's not going to be overly fun. But when I put it in here, hold that still, a little bit of slop, not tons, probably not going to even be noticeably different, but with the new bushing, I mean, there's just no slop in there at all. And guess what? I have this thing out, so I'm gonna do it while it's not in the vehicle. Just got to figure out how to properly set this thing up. I'd like to do it in the vise, but there's really very little advantage to that vise. With this thing that I found, it just doesn't seem to clamp down real easy. Can't find the right surfaces for it, so it seems fairly stout right there. We'll give it a whack or 2. Found a socket that fit it pretty well, so I think I'll just kind of gently tap it with this guy and see if it'll ease out. Well, I got sick of that real quick and just went to the arbor press and went after it, and I dropped one of them in out of it so far, and so I'm getting ready to hopefully finish pressing this through, and I really hope that that socket makes it, and it's not going to. So, all right, so I got to get something on top of that. Hopefully that one does it. It's not quite the same diameter, so I can't push it through. I don't know. We'll see what we get out of it here. Nope. Ay, ay, ay. A little scary. All right. Going with a little bit narrower of a one. So I may have to push that socket out with this as well. I don't know. Nope. There it all goes. All right, there we go. So there's our sockets. These bushings are a little bit odd in that they're actually split. So I don't know what that's about. There's my new ones. Measure them up. I'll have to clean them off, obviously, before I go putting them in there. All right, I got the new one set up in here. Just did a little light, tiny bit of oil on the surface, inside surface there. As I guide her through gently, gently. Just get it down to that. Right about even surface, and I'm going to adjust that socket again. no more slop. In fact, I can't quite get her in there. Really tight clearance. I can't get it in going this way like I was with the other bushings at all. Without force. I could force it in there, but obviously I wouldn't want to do that the wrong direction, for one thing. And I'm not ready yet anyway. I want to do one last final cleanup with some brake cleaner, make sure I don't have any solids in here at all. And I want to grease up that. There's a grease channel in between those bushings, and in that they got those grooves in it as well for grease. So I'm going to grease it up real good and all that before I go jamming it in there. But it is going to take some force. If that's the difference between a good one and a worn out one, well then that's what we're looking at. It seems a little excessive, but I guess we'll find out once it's assembled. So I got my seals in, I got my bushings in. I'm going to pack my bearings and put those in, and then it's just a matter of filling her up with grease and putting her back together. So, well, this is getting to be one of them extra long videos again, so I'm going to end it here. I thought about just cutting out the whole seal portion of it and doing that at a later one. Then I decided, meh, y'all can tune in next week. I'm just going to leave the finishing of the steering box as a cliffhanger to get you to come back for the next one. Not a lot left to go. Like I said, I got to do some greasing up, a little bit of finishing cleaning, a little greasing up, and it'll go on in there, and hopefully it all works real good. The cliffhanger part is, will it fit? Will the pitman arm shaft go in to the new bushings? And will this guy remember to put the rear bearing in before he reassembles the entire thing? That's another one to look out for. Or will he be picking it up and throwing it across the shop and buying a new one because he's not taking it back apart again? Anyway, those are some things to look for, but we'll finish her up on the next one for sure.